All right, you guys sent this to me. You said you got to check it out. So that's what we're going to do. This is called I'm 40, Autistic, and Still Collect Toys. Here's why. It's from a channel called Ashley. Let's see what she has going on over here. This is a really interesting topic for me because I know a lot of people talk about physical media. It's a really big deal when we talk about this on the show. Obviously, with Sony moving away from physical games, going all digital, physical is king. I got a bunch of games behind me. I love it. So does Ashley, apparently. Let's see what she has to say.
What is it like being a 40-year-old autistic woman that still buys toys? Let me tell you, I have been doing a lot of heavy lifting of trying to learn to unmask, learn who I am, who I'm not, what was masking, what was not. Lego, in a lot of ways, helped me discover who I am. You know, it's kind of...
Okay, can I, real quick, this is my first time seeing this, as you guys sent this over to me. She seems actually like super, usually when you think of autistic people, they usually can't hold eye contact very well. It's just kind of, they're uncomfortable in their own skin. I'm just obviously speaking of broad generalizations here. She seems very well adjusted, actually very well spoken. I'm not saying this about her, but I am saying there are a lot of people who say they're autistic that aren't actually autistic. Like they haven't been diagnosed with anything. They just say, oh, I'm autistic. Right? I'm not saying that's the case with her. I'm just saying she obviously is a very high functioning autist. And as you know, and we have a ton of people who are autistic in our community, and autistic people are the best because they're excellent at research. They're laser focused. It's great. And obviously she's laser focused on toys.
Crazy that a plastic toy can, do that. It's very difficult to explain to neurotypicals the toll that masking takes on somebody.
I hate that word.
I'm slowly learning to just turn off the noise and just embrace who I am, what I love, and that is all that I want for other people, especially those that are autistic. That's why I talk about autism so much. It's okay. It's okay to fully show up as yourself. Not everyone's going to get it. Not everyone's going to accept it. But there are people out there that will. Yes, I do collect Lego, primarily vintage Lego and vintage toys and vintage and retro gaming consoles.
Okay, a lot of people do this, and there's a lot of crossover when it comes to like the Venn diagram of Legos and classic stuff, retro inspired games, Legos, whatever, go down the list, right? And for a lot of folks, it's a nostalgia thing, right? It's tied to their childhood. Oh, I had a great time. Remember when this was fun. I remember when I was playing this as a kid. And I go back to when I was doing videos like about classic games, right? And people would say, man, I love that. And even now people talk about, oh man, I loved Screw Attack, and this is something that was now 10, 15 years ago at this point. Now with side scrolls, we got something brand new going on. It's awesome. But a lot of people have said, hey man, I loved what you did at Screw Attack back in 2010. And what they're actually saying is, I love that time of my life. Like nostalgia is a powerful, powerful drug. And we've seen that many, many times. And I've kind of come to the realization, like they really, like I'm just associated like that time in my life is associated with that time in their life. That's cool. I'm okay with that. That's actually a pretty cool thing.
VHS tapes, things like that. And the funny thing is I did not grow up with Lego, as I said, but I am drawn to older sets made in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. They're so colorful. They tell a story. There's just something about the simplicity and the play you get from them. The box art is incredible. The packaging even of those older sets, it's just like...
It's interesting to hear her talk about that. The idea that when I think of like old school Lego, I think she talks about packs. I mention this on the show many, many times. I had a bucket of Legos. The idea of a pack of Legos I think their Legos today are like models. You get this giant 1,000 piece, 2,000, whatever, 500 piece, whatever, essentially puzzle. It comes with instructions. You put it together. When I was a kid, like there were models of like airplanes and stuff that you did. And now that's more or less Legos.
With toys, I have always been drawn to He-Man toys. He-Man, was before I was even born. But, there's something so powerful about those toys that's just like, who can see those and not just stop in awe and look at them? But I feel that way about a lot of the older toys. I think the 80s was the golden age of toys and video games and movies. I don't know, music, all of it. It's just a different time, a different era. And you know what? I say embrace what you love, regardless of age, because joy has no expiration date. Play should not have an expiration date.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I see that a lot of times with not just video games, but just in life. People feel like they can't be silly or goofy or whatever. I want to touch on something she said right there about the 80s having this, being the best, right? And I was born in 81, right? That dates me. I'm at the time of this recording this video, depending when you're watching it, I'm 45 years old. I grew up with all this stuff. And I think the reasons why people look back, and even people who didn't grow up in the 80s or didn't have this look back on the 80s or 90s, is because there was still a lot of unknown. He-Man, what she talked about, that was a toy literally designed to be a toy. It wasn't from another IP. They designed the IP to be a toy. That was the whole idea of He-Man from the start. Video games, it was just in its infancy. There was a lot of risk taking, a lot of trial and error. Things worked, things didn't. That's how you get the Zelda to Zelda 2. That's how you get Mario to Mario 2. There was chances that were taken, and they were trying to figure it out for themselves. And there's like some wonder in that. And I think that's what she's picking up on, possibly.
And you only get old when you stop playing. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that. I feel younger than I did in my 20s. I feel lighter in general now that I've just started being myself and just actually embracing all these different things. I think that there's something so powerful about just sitting alone with yourself and just learning more about yourself and the things you love, the things, that you still, need to be honest with yourself about. Toy collecting being one of those for me. I fully know that I'm addicted to the feeling I get when I can build these sets. Or, the feeling I get when I pick up this old action figure and just like, ah, or, pop in a gaming cartridge after I blow it. Okay, I can't do hand gestures or anything like that. I forgot.
I'm curious to know if Ashley is married or has kids or has any sort of relationship outside of the ones with her toys, right? And I mean that like, honestly, like endearing. I'm not trying to be smart or anything, because I think what you see a lot of times is people will get married. They will their focus then goes from toys and collectibles to their wife or their husband, right? And then when you have a child, then your time gets split even more, and your focus becomes more on wife and kid. And then you have second kid. Then all of a sudden, the idea of Legos and video games and movies and collectibles seem less and less important, because the things that are in front of you, your wife, kids, dog, whatever, they take priority over these things. And it's just, different people have different lives, right? I don't know about Ashley. I'd be interested to know if she has any of those things in her life, and if toys potentially are taking the place of that.
Even, embracing my childish, goofy sense of humor like I did just now. Like, you gotta own who you are. You gotta just surround yourself with the people who get you, even if it's just one, It's so much better than just trying to fit in with people that they don't care about you anyway. So why do you care about them? Just don't. Just who cares? I'm 40.
A lot of people have obviously resonated with this video, and I know I keep starting and stopping because I have a lot to say. And I don't put things in comment sections. I bring them to you guys, right? I could comment down here, and obviously this has resonated with a lot of folks down here, which is excellent. 29,000 thumbs up, 431,000 views. But what she said there's actually really powerful, and it's something that I actually very much remember in high school, having this moment where things just like clicked for me, and I realized that I honestly just didn't care what anybody else thought of me. I didn't care about the cool kids. I didn't care about the nerdy kids. I just didn't care. And for me, that's kind of become a superpower for me, especially working online, that I legitimately don't care if anybody rags on me or whatever. I mean, look, everybody has feelings and stuff like that, but to me, it just bounces off me, and it always has. And you got to have thick skin, especially do this for as long as I have. And I think it's really powerful. She's found that, even at 40 years old, whenever it is. Let me know if you found that. And if you have that ability to just not care, because at a certain point, you realize that it just comes down to most of this is just noise. And there's only a very few handful of people that legitimately care about you in your life. Those are the people that matter. And, people, making snide comments online, or some fringe person that you met on, that, well, whenever Ashley or Craig, it doesn't matter.
I'm autistic, and yes, almost my entire house is covered with Lego, and I love every inch of it. So, yes, I hope that this video inspires someone, especially maybe someone around my age or even younger that's, going through a similar experience where you're, maybe too afraid to just be yourself. Just do it. It's fine. Okay, I don't know how to end these. I never do, but yeah. Thank you for watching, and I will see you.
All right, everyone go check out Ashley's channel. I'll put a link to it down in the description, obviously. I'm curious to see if, oh yes, it's pretty much all like Lego, autism, right? This is who she is. I read every comment. Cool. Good for you. I'm sure she'll be watching this video. I mentioned Ashley some questions. Curious, head to the comments and let me know about it. If you could answer any of those, that'd be excellent. Real interesting video. And honestly, I don't know if it's necessarily about Lego, right? It's more about finding yourself, being comfortable in your own skin. And that's the bigger underlying theme, which I think is what resonates with most people in that video. Check out Ashley. You can find the link in the description. If you're new, make sure you hit the subscribe button over here, or subscribe button, and of course, watch the next video over here. Thumbs up on the way out. You guys have a great day. Thanks.